on the ball, along with that, good sports education.
And we are live. Thank you guys for tuning in. Finally, we are here with Sports Thursdays with the one and only Paul on the Ball, who is my dad. I'm super excited. How are you doing, Dad?
Doing great, doing great. Good to be here.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I've got the comment section open for all you guys who are going to be tuning in tonight. So at some point during the show, I will be not announcing, sorry. I will be looking at your comments and we'll be doing a little bit of Q&A. So, but before we get on to the show, we want to do some introductions. I want you guys to know exactly who my dad is, aka Paul on the Ball, who lives in the BVI currently. So I'm gonna let you take it away, Dad. Let the people know exactly who you are. We're here to talk about sports, and you guys need to know why he is the man when it comes to sports. Fantastic.
Well, I don't know if I'm the man when it comes to sports, but certainly over the last, say, 20 or 30 years, I've sort of paid attention to multiple sports. I myself was a decathlete, and for those in Britain, they would probably know the name of Daley Thompson. I was his training partner for just shy of 7 years,
Hmm.
along with Greg Richards, Pani Zenu, and Justin Whitfield later on joined us as well. He was a younger decathlete. Uh, Brian Richards as well was also one of the guys that trained along with us. Pani was the first one to retire, Pani Zenu. He retired, and the rest of us kind of continued. Competed at the World Championships, the Commonwealth, well, Commonwealth Games that qualified for, but we boycotted that meet, unfortunately. Um, World Championships, I was there in Rome. Yeah, so spent many years doing track and field in Britain, and then after my career kind of began to wind down, returned to the West Indies.
So, what sort of space are we looking at when you were training in the UK? Was that a period of 3 to 4 years, or did it span a lot longer? Because when we were talking earlier, you said it went from the 70s over to the 80s. So, what
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
time frame are
So,
we looking at?
so pretty much all of the 80s is the UK.
Okay.
Pretty much. I was Daley Thompson's training partner for most of the 80s. Along with, we used to train 1 day a week with Linford Christie. Um, so in West London, so we go West London for Linford. We used to go with Daly. Daly and I would do our javelin at Battersea Park. We would do a lot of our runs at either Crystal Palace or at Haringey. And in those days, every Tuesday and Thursday, we used to pole vault at Haringey because Haringey was one of the only places at the time that had an indoor facility.
Wow,
We used to have to
wow.
go up to Cosford to do we used to drive for many hours to do indoors. It was the only indoor facility at Cosford.
Wow, wow, wow. And I can only imagine that the training that you went through at that time, it was must have been very gruesome. And I say this, guys, because when I was younger, my father trained me in track and field, and trust me, it was not an easy, it was not an easy feat. My brother's going through it right now. Shout out to Junior.
Yeah, well, the challenge training with Daley Thompson is that Daley didn't believe in days off, so we always train on Christmas Day, and I do the same thing with my athletes now. We
Wow.
always do special training sessions every single holiday. So, like, our holiday was not a holiday. Um, we always trained 7 days a week. We never let the opposition know what we were doing. Daley didn't like other people to be around what he did. Didn't like people, being in the middle of his training sessions. So we would get track sessions in, and then nobody would see what we did. So I'm one of the very few that actually know what Daley Thompson actually did. Um, um, as an
Wow.
athlete. We used to get our sessions originally from Frank Dick, and I'll just leave that one at that. I won't say what happened after that. But we used to get our session from Frank. Frank would come in like every 3 months, drop the sessions off, and Daley would hand the session, the piece of paper, to Greg Richards, and
Hmm.
that's the rest was history after that. So
Wow.
yeah, that was what it was like, and like you said, 7 days a week. We didn't take any days off. We didn't do snow days off. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't do bad weather days off. And for the athletes that are listening now, we didn't do late. Late in Daly's books didn't exist. I
Right,
arrived
right.
to training 1 day late. Those who know Daly knows Daly does swear. and for about 15 minutes, he told me the reason why I needed to go home, go back to the West Indies, and not return. So
Wow.
I kind of begged him to let me stay, and he didn't verbally tell me to stay, but he didn't chase me off, and I stayed for this year. So the concept of giving
Mm.
these guys excuses, missing days, training, just didn't exist. It just it wasn't something that was accepted
Right, right,
in
right.
those days. You know, we did what we had to do. You know, I remember once I lost a piece of my finger, which I still obviously it's not there up to now. And the next
Wow.
day, Daily's like, yeah, well, let's get on with it. You know, let's. I had to go and get 32 stitches in my finger. The next day was regular training as usual. Those
Wow,
guys,
wow. I
good.
keep forgetting about some of these things.
Yeah,
'Cause you walk around like normal, like that hand's normal.
yeah. So,
Even
yeah,
Helena was telling me some stories. Shout out to Helena. She's watching the live stream right now. Said this is looking good. We really do appreciate that.
all right.
But I
Yeah, I
totally
think
agree with
she's
what
my
you're saying.
daughter, apparently.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of grind today for whatever reason. We are
Uh,
much softer, I would say that, because I myself I'm in the martial art business, and when I switched from area to area here in the UK, no matter what level my opponents are on here, and some of them come across quite soft, so
but
it's really
let me
good.
just say, this is probably for another podcast, but
Yes.
I'd like to spend some time looking at British sprinting and British athletics. Um, I remember speaking with Asafa Powell, and Asafa would always say that the British sprinters are soft and are weak, and
Mm.
they don't train hard enough. That was always Asafa's kind of point of view. And a very good friend of mine, close friend of mine, Harry King, who many people would know, you know, Harry and I have spoken at great length about British sprinting. And I mean, the top British sprinter now is from Anguilla. That should tell you.
Anguilla.
Um, yeah, absolutely. Hughes. And so, to me, Hughes is very talented, but he should not be the top sprinter in Britain. There should be other guys who should be thrashing Hughes because there's so many more American sprinters that run faster than Hughes. And so that is a problem. If Zanel Hughes is Britain's fastest sprinter,
Mm-hmm.
to me, there is still a challenge with British sprinting. I'm not saying Zalin isn't talented because understand that Britain still has the best squad in Europe. All right, and
Okay.
a lot of us used to go to Lanzarote. I don't know if they still do it now in the off season because it was warmer. A lot of people go to California. I know Daily and stuff used to go down, and I used to go with them
Mm-hmm.
to California in the winter because it's warmer. So a lot of sprinters complain. Even a lot of them go down to Jamaica now because they complain of the cold. But
Wow.
I think outside of the cold, there is still a challenge, and they're getting better, man. They're getting better because you're seeing like the young chap. I think his name is Zoop, the young British sprinter now, doing very well, and there are other guys coming along. But I just don't think that and I'm willing Zalon Hughes should be Britain's fastest sprinter. Not because Zalon isn't talented, but
Mm-hmm.
because I think there's so many more talented British athletes who are just not coming through. But
Okay.
that's for another day.
Okay. 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 Yeah. Well, because I had some questions right there, so
Go, go
it's
on,
gonna
go
get a
on, go
bit
on,
deep.
go on, go
Um,
on.
well, the only thing I wanted to know was, do you have any ideas of anyone that you see right now who you think has more potential? Anyone that's on
They,
your eyes right now within Britain?
in Britain, there's a young, I guess I got to call him Ghanaian sprinter. He's British, but I think his parents are Ghanaian. I'm trying to remember his name. It's sticking my tongue. That's not good. I'll put it up now. Really like him. He's just too short. He's just
Okay.
um, he's just like 5'8", 5'9", and that's just. I'm just trying to put it away. That's just not good enough. You know, modern day sprinters are, a Safa is like 6'1" people, and a
Oh
Safa looks
wow, they're
short
that
on the
tall.
field. A Safa is like 6'1". Usain Bolt is 6'6".
So
All right.
I remember growing up, you used to think the short man was the fast guy. Uh, because if you remember Rennie was tall. He was the only tall person that I knew who could sort of compete with the fast sprinters. But isn't it not the short people who tend to have that sprint now that they can go really fast. That was the mindset in my time. I won't reveal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay. So the young guy I'm thinking of is Azu, Jeremiah Azu. I
Okay.
think Jeremiah Azu is really top class. I like him. I just think he's a little short.
Hmm.
Um, Yuja again, nice guy, big fella. He's over 6 foot.
Wow.
Harry Kane's I think is getting on a bit. You know,
Sorry, did
it's
you say Harry
actually
Kane?
Harry Aikens.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it's really down to the and Azu actually is, if I'm correct, is Welsh and not English. So when we're talking about English sprinters, you know, uh, it just requires. I mean, from the days of Lingford, and I trained with Lingford once a week for about 5 or 6 years. Lingford and I hung out together at the World Championships in Rome. We
Okay,
spent
wow.
pretty much all our time together. And since Linford, really, there has not been anyone that's really broken through um, to at the level of Linford. And again, I'm saying that
Ah, I see.
Zarnell Hughes, okay, yes, has gotten there to some extent, not as successful as Linford, but he's
Mm.
gotten there. But Zarnell Hughes is not really a product of England. Zarnell Hughes is a product of Anguilla.
Wow, 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 wow.
You know,
Could you? I see where
both.
you're coming from. When you make the
Yeah,
comparison
yeah,
through the
yeah.
times, you
And
wonder where's the
yeah,
power?
yeah,
Why there?
I'm not hating on Britain.
Mm,
I mean, I'm British. I'm born in England. I'm English.
mm, mm,
So I support England. I support us.
mm.
No matter how West Indian I may sound, I spent many years in the West Indies. I'm actually English. All my kids are English.
I was
You
gonna say
know.
I can say the same.
Yeah, yeah. You're English. You're born in Aylesbury.
Hmm.
I got two boys born in Bletchley. Got two kids born in Enfield.
Hmm.
So and there's one more pretender. We leave her alone.
Careful, she's watching.
Is she watching? Okay.
She's watching now.
Yeah, she's got an English passport. We let her off.
Mm.
Her mother
Yes, yes,
registered
yes.
as English. So yeah, but I mean, there's just so much more that needs to happen to me with British sprinting. I want to see when the Americans line up, when the Jamaicans line up, and the British line up, that we're
Mm.
right there kicking butt. But it's been USA, Jamaica, USA, Jamaica, USA, Jamaica. Where's Britain?
Mm.
Where's Britain? 4-by-1. If we don't drop the baton, 4-by-1.
Okay, okay. It would be pretty exciting to see
Yeah, yeah.
all
And
those
so that
sprinters.
kind of that kind of takes us to Usain Bolt, and unfortunately, he isn't
Yes.
running anymore. But he's got himself in a lot of hot water lately.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna pull up the article just now so everyone can
Sure,
just see
right.
um what what's happening. As you see right here, I'm looking at this. This is from the Lad Bible.
Yeah,
Usain Bolt sacks business manager after losing £10 million to a scam.
yeah, yeah. The challenge is this lady. Um, well, Gina and Patton is the one that's really kind of come out and spoken about it.
Right.
In that she's admitted that she's spent millions of dollars from SSL, which is Stocks Securities Company Limited. So
Mm-hmm.
she's admitted that she on her own has nicked a couple £1 million, and she did it because her father was ill, and then she had to bury him. So what I don't understand is there's this Jamaican company which has now apparently been taken over by the Financial Services Commission of Jamaica temporarily, right? Uh, whereby these people apparently have stolen over a couple $1 billion belonging to individuals. 12.7 of it dollars or £10 billion belongs
Yeah.
to Usain Bolt.
Wow,
So
wow, wow.
who takes responsibility for all this money that's been stolen? It's
It
just unacceptable.
yeah.
Unacceptable. Somebody has to pay the price.
Right, right, right.
It's a lot of money.
Is there any word on whether he's got a return on because I think when I read
Well,
the article, they said that it was down to around £9,000. That's all he had in the accounts. But
in his
he,
account, no.
yeah, but has
Let
it
me
been
just say,
rectified that
for
he's
folks
losing?
that
Yeah,
for
sorry,
folks
go ahead.
that don't know,
Mm-hmm.
Usain Bolt is not a poor guy. He's worth a lot more than 12 billion. He's worth. 12 million. He's worth
Mm.
100 something million. He's got money. Usain has two big, massive apartments in Jamaica. He's got other businesses. He's got other investments. So thankfully, he's an intelligent guy. He didn't just blow all his money. Nevertheless, $12 million is a lot of money,
It's a lot of money.
right? Yeah. So SSL really are going to have to explain to the Jamaican public, because the Jamaican public have actually been quite outspoken about it, and they're saying, listen, he has to get back his money,
Hmm. Hmm.
which I totally agree with. And I'm saying, well, if SSL doesn't pay it back, then the financial services and the Jamaican government are going to have to find some way of giving this guy his money back in
So,
some form.
so these funds have not been tracked as of yet.
Well, they are now tracking the funds. They're saying over the last 4 or 5 years or longer than that, they have been siphoning funds, not just from Usain's account, but from other people's account to the tune of $3 billion.
Wow, 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 wow.
US, not Jamaican dollars.
That
And
is a
so
lot of
it's,
money.
yeah, it's pretty serious stuff. And only one past employee, I think her name is I written it down, Jean Ann Patton, has spoken out and accepted and admitted that she's stolen money. But a lot of people need to go to jail.
uh, I can agree with you there on that one. But
Yeah,
when it comes to theft at this sort of level, when you're talking millions of pounds, there is a lot of time that has to be put in to yeah, not just dealing with lawyers, etc., but also FBI agents getting involved, people taking the time to actually look at this case
yeah.
and iron out the nitty gritties because we're talking about a lot of money here, £10 million, and you can't just nail it down on one individual. You need facts, you need proof. There's a lot of work that's going to go behind this.
The
Uh,
challenge is that the poor get incriminated very easily and very quickly.
mm,
But it is when the wealthy steal, it suddenly becomes a very long process, and nobody ever seems, very rarely ends up going to jail.
yes,
And the
yes.
best part about when the rich steal, that the money never gets returned.
Mm, mm, mm.
You know,
No, this is
I
true.
mean, we look at the world banks now, and that's a whole different story. But I mean,
Yes.
it's just crazy. Anyhow, moving on.
We're going to move on. So the
Otherwise,
next
you
thing we
get
have
stuck
on,
with Usain Bolt forever.
we'll be on here all day because that
Yeah,
conversation could go in so many different angles. When you
correct.
try and figure out what's going on with different individuals, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah,
But on the next topic we've got
yeah.
here, I'm just going to bring it up on the screen. We
Sure.
wanted to give uh, have a little look on the Duplantis and Warholm situation.
Oh
Can you
well,
bring that?
well, I mean, there are lots of people out there. I mean, Elaine Thompson has come out. I think Shelley Anders did a little run the other day. The reason why Duplantis and Warholm are such big names, I mean, they're both not just world record holders, but they've both they smashed the world records. Warholm has run 45 seconds for 40-meter hurdles. Duplantis has jumped 6 meters 20 in the pole vault. These guys
Wow.
yeah, and Duplantis has broken the world record about 5 or 6 times. What you got to understand is every time these guys break the world record, they get 100,000 US dollars, right? That has
Really?
nothing to do with their endorsements. If you notice, he's got that blue bull stuff on there. They pay him a lot more money than that to wear that
Okay,
shirt when
I'm
he's
seeing it.
over. Yeah,
Wow.
they pay him big money, you know. And Carsten Warholm. What I like about Carsten Warholm is that we've got a guy who's ranked fourth in the world on the British Virgin Islands, who, if he was to really get a bit more, I gotta say, get a bit more focus. He has the ability, but in the Caribbean, many a times, especially in the smaller islands,
Hmm.
we don't have the kind of structure that these bigger countries have.
Right, right,
And
right.
so,
Yeah.
although Karen McMaster is to me as talented as Warholm, he hasn't got the kind of structure and the kind of backing that
Mm.
Warholm has. When I listen to the kind of sessions and the kind of things that Warholm does, and the kind of money that they spend on him, for him to run the kind of times that he does, it's breathtaking.
Is he
And it's
legit? Is he on supplements? Is it all natural?
I would like to think that most athletes are on supplements these days. Anybody that's going to be a world class athlete really needs to be on some sort of supplements.
Mhm.
Some more than others. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some are better at it than others, but
Right.
all athletes, once they get to a certain level, because the body is so much is demanded from the body to
Right.
train 6 to 7 days a week that, and if you aren't doing that,
Right.
you won't be able to beat your competition. And so,
Wow.
therefore, those who aren't supplemented have to actually be eating 3 square meals a day. And you and I know that nobody eats 3 square meals a day.
No,
So
well,
you're either
well,
on
well.
supplements or
Going
you're
on.
taking 3 square meals a day.
I'll tell you what, Dad. Going back on
Tell
that.
me.
Um, I grew up. That's how we grew up. That's normal for me. I watch people here in the UK, and I can see their bodies suffering from it. For those of
Mm.
you who are watching and you want to know why I'm putting on some pounds, and
Oh,
it's so
that's right.
simple.
I
But
was wondering.
they are on those 3 meals a day. I don't know how they're getting it done, but they have to have breakfast in the morning. They have to snack throughout the day. They have to have their lunch, and then after they have their lunch, they need to snack again, and then dinner must be
Dinner,
had. Yeah,
supper.
it's if you don't train your well, it's not if you don't train your body. I think if you are used to this type of eating, then it just becomes normal, and your body suffers down the road.
So here's
Um,
the deal. Here's the
mm,
deal, Kate. I see so many athletes that I used to train with.
right.
When I see them on telly, I don't recognize them. They're
Wow.
3 times the size they were when they were training. Their faces are big and massive.
Yes.
Because they're trying to eat at 60 the same way that they were eating when they were 30,
Okay.
or at
Wow. Wow.
50 the
Wow.
same way they were doing at 20. And you just can't. Your body, the human body was made to go out and hunt and do a lot of physical stuff.
Mhm.
If you're just watching telly and just reading a book and just walking to the store, what have you, you can't be eating the way that you ate before. Otherwise, the body's just going to go poof, poof, poof. So I've, over the years, I've been very observant of what I eat. And,
Mhm.
and I created one rule many years ago. And that rule was very simple.
Mhm.
Simplest rule you'll ever hear. If it tastes good, it usually isn't good for you.
I should
Yeah,
adopt that.
yeah. Well, that's so
Mm.
things like ice cream and steak and
Yes.
everything,
Yes.
all the stuff bacon, stuff I
Mhm.
love really, really good. I'll only have bacon if I go on a special trip
Right. Right.
or I'm
Right.
at a hotel
Mhm.
and,
Mhm.
and, and it's a buffet and there's
Right.
bacon there. English breakfast and it's free.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
in.
Yes. Mm. Mm.
You
Mm.
see what I'm saying? Right? I go to a restaurant one night with my wife or someone else, and they say, "Do you want steak?" I'll go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll have a steak."
Right. Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
the last time I was in England by you, I had a steak. I think that's the last time I had steak.
Yes. Oh, really? That was at Cattle Steakhouse. That was your last
Yeah,
time.
and you were like, and here's the other thing. This one will get you,
Mhm.
kebab. I,
Oh
I
yeah.
only
That.
have kebab when I
Yeah.
can't play
Me.
with
I
them.
don't know how you do it.
I, and, and
Me
my
and
son's like,
kebabs. No.
kid is like, oh no, no, I don't want kebab. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
give me a kebab. I had a
Mm.
kebab nearly every day. Haven't had kebab since.
Wow.
That was like 3, 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of COVID, we haven't been out.
2018.
Yeah, I've had a
2018.
kebab since, maybe.
Mm. Mm.
But look at me.
And the thing is, for you, those of you who are watching, we're not going to talk about ages here, but you would be quite surprised if you knew how old I was versus my father.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Take that
And
into
if,
consideration, like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like 10 years older than you. All right, 11,
Yeah.
11. And Calvin's 21.
Well, that was funny.
Yeah.
I was actually on set the other day,
Uh,
and a lady, she was 42, and she was doing my hair and stuff. I can't speak of what the film is because they'll kill me. But
right.
she's
Okay.
doing
Yeah.
my hair and everything, and she's sorting me out, drying me because I had to get wet and all this stuff.
Right.
And
Nice.
I'm just having general conversation, and she's from how I'm speaking. She's looking at me and she's going, "Well, how old are you?" I just say my age casually, and then she goes, "What? I thought you were in
So,
your 20s. I'm 42."
so she thought she was like older than you, huh?
Yeah, she thought she was
Oops.
much older than me, and
Oh,
what I found interesting there was girls don't and women don't usually reveal. I'll say women, not girls. There's too many women.
reveal the
Women
age.
usually don't reveal their age, and after I told her my age, she was just like, "I'm 42." I was like, "Okay, well, that's, that's nice to know."
Yeah. Yep. Interested to say the least.
Very, very
All right.
interesting. But we digress.
That's
We're gonna go on
that's okay.
to
So,
the next topic on the line,
okay.
which is
All right.
very exciting for me
Okay.
because
Tell me.
Dad loves the track and field. I love fighting.
Okay. All right.
We've got Anthony Joshua. Anthony
Okay.
Joshua, who is returning to fight in London against Jermaine Franklin in London.
An
And we
American.
want to get your thoughts, Dad, on this fight and how well do you think Anthony is going to do as he's coming back again trying to get that championship title?
Right. I've got to say, I don't like using words like disappointed with Anthony Joshua.
Mm,
I expected more from him. He seemed a lot tougher. He's a really intelligent guy.
mm,
But like Anthony would tell you straight up, you know, the game that he's in is it's not a boys' club.
no.
It's for tough men. And Anthony, I didn't think he should have lost that fight to Usyk. I think
No.
he was caught off of his guard. I don't think he had prepared properly for the fight,
Mm,
and I blame a lot of that on his trainer.
mm,
A lot of people would not be happy with me blaming his trainer. And I think the best thing that they did was to change the trainer, because when a boxer loses a fight of that stature against someone that they weren't supposed to lose from,
right.
because only the Ukrainians thought that they were going to win that fight. No one else in the world thought that they were going to
No.
win that fight,
Not a chance.
which tells me that they should not have won the fight.
Hmm, hmm.
But what happens if you remember, like Mike Tyson, once that invincibility um, facade
Yes.
becomes hurt,
Mm-hmm.
other
It's true.
boxers become more brave.
Yes,
They
yes,
become
yes. It's
more
true. It's
aggressive.
true. It's
They
true.
try things that they wouldn't normally try.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how people began to attack Mike. Even we go up to Muhammad Ali. Once Muhammad Ali had a bad loss, the thing about Ali, Ali came back and Ali came back. And to me, Anthony Joshua has that same level of intelligence. Because not
Mm.
all boxers are at the same level of intelligence.
No, no,
But
I
Anthony
agree with that.
Joshua is a very intelligent guy.
Hmm.
And that's why Anthony has such big followers. Because you're, to me, you either love Anthony Joshua or you don't. There's no in between with Anthony.
100%.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
is a people person, I would say. The
hundred
only
percent.
thing for me personally, when I look at Anthony Joshua's fights, I see skill. He's obviously been training a long time. I
Yeah,
feel like I miss that grit when you
yeah.
really need to dig down and go
So,
deep.
so that's where the American trainer comes in. If
Mm.
Anthony Joshua maybe had started his career in the U.S. with some of these U.S. coaches, maybe he would have had a different style of boxing.
Right, right, right.
Your ability is your ability, but I think Anthony, his style, and some things he's a bit too passive
Mm,
in his
mm.
approach. That's like when he got knocked out the first time, you know, by the Mexican.
Yes, yes, he shouldn't have lost that fight,
He
and you
should have never lost
clearly
that first
saw
fight.
that the second
You
fight.
know. But see, you blame those sort of things on the trainers, because
Mm,
the trainer, you kind of get up and you say like some American fighters would have never done that. Okay, okay, this fighter can't make it. Let's just take this one and knock him out quickly and move on. No, 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 no. You don't take those kind of chances. You are the heavyweight champion of the world. You see, Anthony now will never make a mistake ever again, because it's
no,
been
no,
nearly 4 years now since he's held his belts. Doesn't even remember what they look like anymore.
no.
So the next time he wins, and I think that he will win it again, because I know he has the ability. The problem with that, he's 29 now. He's not young anymore. It's been 4 years on.
I feel I'm talking for me personally. He's only 29 years old, but I think he's got a lot more in the tank at 29.
Yeah,
The only difference is, I would say, is these guys have to get, because they are in the ring fighting for their life. They have to get very, very careful with their body and how they fight. And I think at that age, if you start to get reckless and make certain decisions, I'm going to dive in and not very calculated. Like Tyson Fury, I love watching his fights. He's been knocked out by Deontay Wilder, yes, but he's usually calculated to make sure he doesn't get too
And
much damage.
I'm glad you mentioned Tyson Fury because I'm not a very big Tyson Fury fan. I've
Mm.
got a lot of respect for Tyson Fury,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I've always felt that Anthony Joshua could beat Tyson Fury. And
Okay.
I'm probably one of the few people that think that. But I've analyzed Muhammad Ali's fights over the years.
Mhm.
I analyzed Mike Tyson, and I've analyzed Anthony Joshua. And I've always felt that AJ has what it takes to beat Tyson Fury. Tyson's really clever. Whenever Tyson thinks that he's under pressure, he just retires, takes a couple of years off, and he comes back again.
Mm.
And he knew that mentally, he had it over Deontay Wilder. He
Deontay
knew
Wilder,
mentally he had
yes.
won, so he was happy to fight Wilder 10 times.
Right. Right. Right.
He got Wilder 2, Wilder 3, Wilder 4. He'll fight Wilder forever, right? But you know, I always felt that he was trying to cleverly avoid Anthony Joshua. He kept on giving the impression that Anthony Joshua was trying to avoid him. But I
Mm.
am 100% convinced it's the other way around,
That Anthony
right? The
was chasing him.
Fury was avoiding Joshua because Fury knew the one person that could hit him and he went down and he wouldn't get back up was Joshua because Joshua
Mm.
could box,
He
right?
was a clever.
Deontay
Josh was a clever
Wilder
boxer,
was a
yes.
slugger. He get you in one punch. But
Mm. Mm.
Anthony Joshua hit. And when Anthony Joshua hit you, you're going to stay down because he
You're
wasn't
gonna
going to hit
feel
you
it.
one punch.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anthony Joshua can throw combinations. You see him when he fought Ruiz the second time, he changed his style and he boxed Ruiz. Didn't try to slug him and knock him out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
So Anthony has the brains to be a great boxer. But Anthony's biggest problem now is age. Age is now going against him. He's 29, right? He's not peaking now. At 29 in boxing, you don't peak, mate. At 29, you maintain and you stay in there. By 35, you're starting to get a bit of a stomach and you
Well,
can't keep it down anymore.
unless you're Floyd Mayweather, that's just pointing that out.
Yeah, but Floyd Mayweather is a middleweight. That's
Mm.
different. These guys
Okay.
can keep their weight down. They're smaller guys. Anthony Joshua is 6'6", mate. He's a
Oh,
bigger
okay.
guy.
Right.
It's a
Right.
big
Yeah.
difference. Heavyweights struggle to keep their weight down,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Right.
I mean, look at this. Fury is 6'10", something like that. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
These guys can't keep
He's
their
big
weight down
man.
for very long. It's a bit
Mhm.
heavyweight. When you talk about weight and heavyweight, it's very different. Mike Tyson was only about 6'1", he's a little guy.
Mike Tyson is 6'1".
Yeah, he's a little
He's
fella.
taller than me. He looks short.
Yeah, he's only a little fella.
Wow.
You know, for heavyweight
I have to
boxing,
say,
that's
growing up, I did not watch any of these fights. No
I
fighters
watched it. I
whatsoever.
watched them all. I watched them all.
Hmm. But in my older age, I went on YouTube, saw a compilation of Tyson's fight, and
Sugar Ray Leonard,
I see why.
Hearns,
Oh no, I haven't watched any of his.
yeah,
Well, I've seen a couple
some
fights
of
with
them.
him, but
Mhm.
I have to say, after watching those compilations with Mike Tyson, that is the most skillful fighter I have come across. And that's just me personally that I've seen. Those are true skills. You can really see what he drilled, he
Yeah.
brought to the ring. He was that guy was
I guess it.
aggressive
Yeah,
and had
I guess you got to
skills.
use the word skill.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he's more aggression. Mike was strong. He was aggressive. I don't know if I'd use skill. There's some skillful fighters that are
I
really.
don't see anyone
You know,
using that
Sugar Ray Leonard
defensively.
is skillful.
Mm.
Mike Tyson is an animal. Mike's goal is not skillful. Mike's goal is to knock you out,
Mm. Mm.
right? And I guess that does require a skill,
Okay.
but
Yes. Yes. Yes.
it's not very skillful,
Mm.
so to speak, in that he's just ruthless.
Yeah.
That Mike Tyson is just ruthless. Talented, absolutely.
Mm.
You know, ruthless. Mike wasn't interested in tapping you and jabbing in your face for a couple of rounds and then no. Mike was interested. Mike wanted you
Mm.
out.
Mm.
Wanted you home as quickly as possible.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's it. Period.
That's why you have to stay
All
on
right?
your toes. Since
Absolutely.
since we're on the boxing topic,
Mm.
I have next in line here, guys. We were talking about the Furies. Well, just so you know, there is another fight coming up, and we really want to get my dad, aka Paul Nabal's views on this upcoming fight. Jake Paul, a YouTuber, versus Tommy Fury. There's a bit of an age gap between the two. Jake Paul is 26 years old, and Fury, no, sorry, Tommy Fury is 23 years old. I've done a little bit of research on
It's not,
these
it's not, it's
guys.
not a fight that really catches my eye as a mega fight. I think Tommy Fury is going to finish the fight really easy. I think they're trying to. I think the promoters are trying to. Is it Tommy Hearns who's promoting this?
Eddie Hearns, you
But
mean?
Eddie Hearns, sorry. I,
Um,
I, I, I think I just think Eddie Hearns is just
I think it's
or
beating his
whoever. They're just trying to make a meal out of it. It's Fury's got this one comfortably. It's not a big
Mm.
fight. It's not a big fight, Kate.
But
Honestly.
what's your knowledge on Tommy Fury? Because when he decided to fight Jake Paul, I said, okay, he's got a real boxer. This is going to
Yeah.
be a bit problematic. I looked into Tommy Fury. I've seen some of his knockouts. He definitely has skills, and he's part of the Fury family. My only issue with Tommy Fury at the moment, okay, he has years of experience over Jake Paul, but Jake Paul has been grinding and doing his thing.
Right.
I had no idea that because he's a bit of a pretty boy, he was on Love Island. He's a part of these reality TV shows, and I just wonder how serious he's got the Fury name, but how
Yeah.
serious is he about boxing?
I don't know. I just think that Tommy Fury will win it. Will win it easily. I don't honestly. I think this is more commercial fight than
Hmm.
anything else. Uh, you know, Jake Paul. I don't really see it as being um, something that a lot of people are really gonna really get big into.
Mm-hmm.
I think the promoters are just trying to get people interested in it and to generate an
It's bringing
income.
lots of eyes at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, but
These
that's
YouTubers.
the goal. That's the
Mm.
goal, and that's the reason why they're using YouTube and all the other media aspects to try and make it as big as they can. It's
Right,
like
right.
it's like Nico, going to
Mm.
run for Congress in the UK.
Yes.
Try to be a member of Parliament. He was a YouTuber. Nico goes and Nico came fifth, but he
Wow.
beat some of the biggest guys. But and Nico had to spend a lot of money. It wouldn't surprise me if he spent £500,000 to do that campaign. It would not surprise me.
Wow, 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 wow.
No, it's
So
not. It's
far,
not cheap.
have you seen Jake Paul's fights? Any of them? And if you have, what's your take on Jake Paul so far from what you've seen?
Uh, I, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big
Mm.
fan. Nothing, no disrespect. I'm not saying that he's not going to be a great because that's not my call.
Right.
Uh, certain athletes catch my eye. Jake
Mm-hmm.
Paul wasn't one of them.
Right, right, right.
AJ caught my eye.
Right,
Mike
right,
Tyson
right,
caught
right.
my eye. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and the other Fury caught my eye.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
Tyson
yeah.
Fury caught my
Mm-hmm.
eye. You know, Hearns, Hagler,
Mm.
Sugar Ray Robertson, Sugar Ray Leonard. These are the kind of guys that catch my eye. Muhammad Ali.
Nice, nice. Yeah, these are eye
Um,
catchers.
sorry, Jake Paul hasn't
No,
caught my eye yet,
no, no. And
and
speaking
so
of,
I think
go ahead,
he'll
sorry.
pull a. I think he'll pull a bit of a crowd,
Yes, definitely.
not a
Oh,
doubt.
100%.
But I don't think he'll have 100,000 people in the arena. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking
I
of
wouldn't go to
catching,
Wembley with that fight. That's my recommendation.
okay. So you heard it from Paul Neville. The Jake Paul fight versus Tommy Fury. It's just a gag.
I
uh,
never said it was a gag. I
mm,
mean, these guys are serious fellas. It's not a
mm,
gag. I
mm.
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't be that disrespectful.
Okay,
I'm just,
okay,
I'm just being a little unfair to them because I'm comparing them to the greatest, and
okay.
I tend not to spend my time
Mm-hmm.
following really good fighters. I follow the great guys.
Right, right, right. So
No.
they have a little bit more work to do and more to prove.
Well,
And I can
well,
agree
I
with that.
train, I train with Daley Thompson, and I kind
Yeah.
of got the Daley attitude.
Right, right, right. No, I agree with that.
What would Daley say? Ask
Mm.
yourself that.
Right, right, right. So speaking about catching your eye, there's the next topic that we're going to move on to. This is someone who I
Sure.
think has caught your eye.
Yeah.
That is Miss Julian Alfred, who's recently just clocked 7 point. Well, it's meant to be 7 seconds, but some are saying 7.02, 7.04.
But
The
she's
fastest.
run more than one race, Kate. She ran 7.2 first,
Right.
and then she came back and she ran 7.0. But
Wow.
Julian Alfred is St. Lucian. She came second at the Commonwealth Games last year behind Elaine Thompson era.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she actually was favorite to make it to the finals at the World Championships last year in the United States.
Wow.
Uh, had a false start and got eliminated at the World Champs. And Solutions have been talking about it for quite a few years now because she's also been a junior champion as well. You know, when she was the junior, she used to wear glasses. Actually, she doesn't wear them anymore. I guess she wears contacts now.
Wow.
But extremely talented young lady. She It's the second St. Lucian to have done that well. The last one was a high jumper, so and now she's come up. You know, so it's the second St. Lucian to have reached this level, you know, of
Wow.
competition. It just shows you how hard it is to get to the world level. You know,
But it's surprising that athletes from the Caribbean are actually competing at a high level with us out here in the bigger countries, England, Britain, America.
well, not with sprinting. I mean, you know, Zionel Hughes runs for England.
Mm.
But hello, what's the price? Jamaica has all these top sprinters. Most sprinters in the world now, including Americans,
Right.
go to Jamaica to train.
Really? What sort of
Hello,
facilities do they have down there in
hot
Jamaica?
sun, mate. Hot sun.
is that the skill?
That is the most important thing. But outside of the hot sun,
Mm.
you have to understand that Jamaicans have every single facility that a sprinter needs. And when those
That's
guys
right.
go down there, they walk with all their stuff anyway, right? But what
Mm.
the Caribbean has is hot sun. You need heat to practice sprinting. You can't be sprinting in the cold. You pull muscles.
Okay, I got you.
No,
Yes,
you
yes.
know. I
No,
mean,
no,
the
I do get it.
only Europeans that were really good at sprinting were the Germans.
Mm.
And of course, it was revealed later on that you know that the Germans, Rita Koch, Marlies Gore, they were all apparently on something.
Mm, mm, mm.
You know,
I see.
and then I mean, even look at Jamil Kratochvilova, hold world record for the 400 and 800 meters, still holds it today.
Wow. How
Still
long
holds
ago
the
is that?
record from that's
How
from the
long is that?
1970s.
90s. Oh, from the
Kratochvilova still holds the 800
1970s.
meter world record. Right? I think it's Marlies Gore who holds the 400 meter, the 47.3, something like that, holds the 400 meter record, right?
Wow.
Or I think Marlies Gore, Marie de Kock, I get them mixed up. But you're talking about the Germans, the Europeans were on it in those days. They were the best of the best. When we talk about track and field in the 70s, you know, you're talking in you know, actually, look, you go back to the 70s, the 100 meters, you're talking about Hazley Crawford
Mm.
from Trinidad, gold medalist,
Wow,
right?
wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, so that's Trinidad now, you know, and
Yes,
so
Trinidad.
yeah, so the Caribbean's always done well in sprints. You know?
I
We
guess it.
we yeah, and so uh, Julian Allen
Mm-hmm.
um, is a product. Alfred, sorry, I was calling Allen. Julian Alfred is a product of that. Very talented young lady, and my prediction is look out for her this year. Look out for Julian Alfred this year. She ran 1081 last year.
Right.
1081 last year, Kate.
1081.
Yes, she ran last year.
That's
And
fast.
she will run faster this year.
You reckon
Now,
she would break the record?
considering that Shelly Ann has run 1060 and Elaine Thompson has run 1050, that speaks of a different, you know,
Yes, 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 yes.
level. But I think that I really feel that Julian Alfred will run 10.7 this year. Based on the 7.0 that she's running, I would like to see her get under 7 seconds before the season starts. And that means she actually break the collegiate record again because she's broken it 2 years on the trot. But
Mm.
I reckon that she is running fast enough this year to run sub 7 in the 60 meters. And if she does that, that will give her uh, a 1071, 1069 in the 100 meters.
Wow, wow, wow. That is pretty fast. one thing I think our viewers would be interested in, I'm certainly interested in, is because I know what your schedule is like. You're very very busy. How have you managed to maintain well, not even maintain information, but also keep up to date with sports on such a wide variety? We've gone from track and field to boxing, and I know there's much more that we can speak about, but we're keeping it limited because we have a 45 to 50 minute limit here. But how do you manage to keep up to date with everything else that you got going on in your life now?
You need to ask my wife that question. First of all, for the women that are listening, you need
Mm,
to. Oh, let me talk as a man then.
mm-hmm,
Marry a wife that doesn't bug you when you're watching sports on telly,
mm,
or if you're online reviewing what's going on. So because it's more than a hobby
mm,
for people like myself. As soon as you hear sports, you click it. Like for instance, I was right there when LeBron James broke Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record last night. You know, so
mm.
now the top scorer in basketball in the world is now LeBron James. And for those people who go, "Oh, LeBron James isn't all that," I'm saying to you, LeBron James is all that. Okay, he's not the goat,
Mm,
but the GOAT, right, did not achieve Michael Jordan
mm-hmm,
what LeBron has achieved. Okay, LeBron doesn't have six titles, LeBron has four titles.
mm.
But he still has a couple more. He's been 20 years in the league. Right? Michael Jordan never spent that many years in the league. I think after
Wow.
16 years, that was it, he retired. Michael Jordan won six championships. After those six championships, he left. But Michael Jordan had lots of issues with the Chicago Bulls. Here's the argument that's going to come about. Michael Jordan never left Chicago Bulls until
Mm.
the last year or two, right? Whereas, LeBron James, this is like his fourth team, right?
Wow.
Yeah, from the Lakers. But every single team he's been at, he's won a championship. Won a championship with Cleveland, won a championship with the Miami Heat, won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers, right? And so that's that. And of course, the extra ones with the Heat. He won two with the Heat, right? But
Right.
then he went back to Cleveland after winning two championships with the Heat, won another championship, went to the Lakers and won a championship. Right? Uh, Again, LeBron is the kind of guy you either love him or you don't.
Right. Right.
Very
Right.
intelligent guy. Intelligent people like AJ and LeBron James, you either like or you don't like.
Right. Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, they're easy to criticize because they're deep thinkers
Mm,
and
mm,
they do things very strategically. They don't just do it because they're good at it. Like LeBron James moved back to LA not to play basketball. LeBron James moved back to LA because that's where he could make the most money. He's now
mm.
the only the second billionaire in the NBA after Michael Jordan. So
Wow.
who is the GOAT? Both of them are the GOATs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them have $1 billion in the bank.
You know,
You see what I'm saying?
there's something to get that sort of goat status in whatever it is, sport or whatever it is that you do. That I think there has to be that one magical moment where you do something that really sticks with people, and then they go, "Yeah, there's no one better," and then you kind of forget that there are other individuals around who are striving and doing just as well, just as you said. But
But
I think there's that one moment someone's done something that
yeah,
just
but
send everyone crazy, and they
but,
go,
but in saying that, Shaquille O'Neal can
mm.
fit right in that little group there. Shaquille O'Neal has made a lot of money,
"Oh yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of money.
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
it's very very clever guy, very intelligent fella. You know, and he was not as successful as MJ or LeBron.
that's true,
But he's maximized what he has,
mhm,
his height at 7'1" and what have you, right? And all these guys have in common, none of their children were able to achieve the goals that they achieved. But I predict
mm,
that not Bronny, LeBron's the eldest son, but Bright, the younger son, LeBron's the younger son, who is now 14 years old and 6'6". Bronny's only 6'3". I I predict he will make the NBA. I don't think Bronny will ever make the NBA. Like Shaq's son, up to
right,
now, cannot make the NBA. He actually been trying out with the Lakers. He plays for the Lakers B team, can't get on the A team. But I
wow."
predict that Bright, which is LeBron's younger son, will make the NBA.
14 years old, 6 pound six. That's what I got out of all of that.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
um,
yeah.
wow, 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 wow.
He hasn't
Well,
stopped growing, by the way. Got a lot more to go.
a lot more to go. Wow, it's something that's something special. I want to say thank you to you guys who have been tuning in and liking on Facebook. I can see the likes, I see the hearts, I see the likes. Thank you very much, and I see your comments. We're gonna get to those a little bit later on. But we're down to the last topic of the evening, which
Okay.
is I think one of my dad's favorites. It is cricket, ladies and gentlemen. Cricket,
No,
cricket.
you either like cricket or you don't, mate. Unfortunately, you're either a cricket lover or you're a cricket hater. One of the two. But I just want to big up the West Indies. Now, let me just say this first of all, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the West Indies is the one team in the world that drives me up the wall.
Mm.
You know, when the West Indies play England, I'm like a typical Indian. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. When India comes to the West Indies, all Guyanese and all Trinidadians back India. It drives me mad. I'm thinking, you're born in the West Indies, lived there all your life. Why in heaven's name are you back in India? You're a West Indian, right? I
I think
don't get it, mate. You know,
I
you
think
see what I'm
someone
saying?
agrees with you. We just gotta like.
Yeah, it drives me potty. You know, why aren't you backing us? You know, but it is just as bad for me being English and back in the West Indies.
That's
It
true.
really is. It really is. Honestly, honestly,
Yes.
honestly. But England is to blame because England have so many West Indian players on their team. You
Mm,
know,
mm.
England is to blame. So but in recent years, I have stopped backing. I've stopped backing the West Indies. I've
Okay.
had it with them. West Indies have just been going backwards, 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 backwards. And let me tell you, I'm going to say this out now. I've been on the West Indies board. I was the president of the association here locally,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've been on the Leeward Islands board. And the problem, people, it's not the players or you have got discipline and all this kind. It's not that. The problem is the board itself.
The board.
Right. The problem is West Indies board. All these big men trying to get on the board and they all want the US dollar. And they make big money being on the West Indies board. They travel first class, they rent cars, they get free
Mm.
tickets to go to all the games all over the world,
Right.
and they don't study the players.
I
So
see.
the players are saying, I want to make money. They go to the IPL. Now they're trying to squeeze the players for going to the IPL and we're going to the Pakistan League and the Bangladesh League. And now they have one Arab, Arawats, the Arab in the Middle East. They have
Right.
one there now as well, a 10 over series that they have there. These young West Indians, they see the amount of money these guys are playing. They want to go, right?
They want
But
to pay. Mm-hmm.
when they play for the West Indies, they don't even get paid. When the West Indies whitewashed to England, the great
Mm.
whitewash in the 1980s with Greenwich and Haynes and Michael Holden and Joel Garner, and the name goes on, Sir Viv Richards, calling the names, Richie Richards. When we
Oh,
whitewashed to England,
legends.
right?
Yes.
When we
Mm.
whitewashed to England, my friend, those guys got $100 each.
a
Ian
hundred
Botham,
dollars.
that's what they earned. Ian Botham bought a plane the same year. Our fellas couldn't even afford to buy a hamburger.
So that sounds like a big issue in cricket at the moment.
It still is like that today.
It
It
still
hasn't
is like that.
changed. West Indies board has not changed.
So why aren't the players getting
You don't need to be my friends. I'm okay. I'm English.
yeah, but why aren't the players getting the money that they deserve? Is this only in the West
Because the board
Indies? Are we
spends the
speaking?
money indiscriminately.
Mm. Or
They're
what is it
very
like?
mature.
What is it
West
like
Indian.
for does the board control the funds for
Of course, the board controls everything. All the money goes through the funds. What do you mean
but for the
the
different
board?
countries? I mean, when
It's
you're
the West
talking,
Indies board, not the West Indies cricket team. West Indies cricket team is
so
governed by the West Indies board.
so this is mostly in the Indies board we're talking about, not Zimbabwe or England or anyone else.
Well, I'm going to come to that. I'm just going to
Mm.
say that Shivnarine Chandrapal,
Mm-hmm.
has a son named Tangerine Chandrapal. He just made 207 a couple of days ago against Zimbabwe, and I'm
Right.
really proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
We played it was a 4-day match. Because the West Indies are now in Zimbabwe preparing for a test series, and one of the things that we should West Indies should always do well. We've always done well at is test cricket, but even that's gone. And all of a sudden now West Indies is known for doing well at T20 and one day cricket. Absolute rubbish, right? As Mikey Holding says, the, 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 the heart and the soul of cricket is in a test match. That's where
Mm,
you
of
learn
course.
to play cricket,
Mm-hmm,
right? Tangerine Chanterpaul made 207 not out. When Brian Lara broke the record, and I was there live, I watched the game.
mm.
Brian Lara bat for 3 days. Same England, he put the blows on the tail. See,
Wow.
that's when I'm West Indian. When we're
Mm-hmm,
winning, I'm West Indian. When we're
mm-hmm.
losing, I'm English.
There we go. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. Lara bat for 3 days.
Mm.
3 days. Did it twice. Same
And
grounds, ARG, Antigua Recreation Ground.
and you were there live.
I was there live. I saw the winning shot. I don't have a cup of tea, by the way, but okay.
I was gonna
Sorry,
ask
mate.
you, what's your preference when it comes to watching cricket? Because I have mine.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to watch it on television or see it live? Which one's better for you?
Well, that's a no-brainer for me because I prefer Test cricket over T20 or one-day cricket, unlike most other people, because they don't really understand the cricket. They just want to see a baseball-like game that starts quick and finishes quick. Who's
Mm.
gonna win? I go to a Test match the day before. I go to the nets. I watch the players play. I get to the grounds before the coach reaches with the players,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I watch the players walk off the bus. And from that point, I can tell you who's going to score runs based on their behavior and their demeanor, right? When
Mm.
Wes Hall managed the West Indies in the 1980s and they went to England, right? No, well, okay. Let me not start calling their names. Certain big stars on the team rented cars
Mm.
and were driving from one ground to the next. The whole England team went onto one bus, all uniformed,
Mm-hmm.
drove to the grounds, came off the bus, and went into the stadium. West Hall called these individual players in and said to them, I got this first hand, by the way, this is not second hand, and
Right.
said to them, return your renter cars, put on your uniform, and the next game, and make sure you're on the bus with all the other players. Otherwise, go home. 2 days later, a
Ooh.
player who was supposed to play said he was sick. I'm not going to call his name because I know him personally. Said he was sick. When West Hall looked across to the playing grounds, the player was over there playing soccer with some children. When the game was over, West Hall called him. And the following day, after watching the person on television the day before coming off the bus, I saw the fellow stand up at a gas station. And I said, why is he at the gas station? He's supposed to be in England. So I made a call. And that's when he was explained to me that he was sent home. Didn't want to play because he was sulking. He didn't get picked for the first test. So he didn't want to play in the pickup game. So he's not playing, his foot training him, right? And the same afternoon he was on the playing fields playing soccer with a bunch of kids. Send him home. That's what needs to
Wow.
happen now. Misbehave, send him home. But a lot of these people that they have traveling with them that call themselves officials and this and that. And the
Right.
other problem that we have in West Indies cricket, and I'll end with this,
Right.
is the problem of when Antigua was doing well, Antigua wants to have 8 players on the side. When Barbados is doing well, Barbados wants to have 8 players on the side. Right? When Guyana is doing well, Guyana wants to have 8 players on the side.
Hmm.
Can't work like that.
Right. Right. Right.
You
Right.
gotta get the best players. That is the reason why, right? West Indies did so well in the 1980s because their then captain, Clive
Hmm.
Lloyd, went from country to country, every single Caribbean island, and found players who all became great players,
Wow.
including um, Michael Holden, by the way. Michael Holden was still a young fella, saw him play, and pulled them onto the West Indies team, and they became great players. It
Wow.
was in Australia in the Kerry Packer series that the West Indies were playing badly in the Kerry Packer series. And Kerry Packer walked into the room and said to them, you'll have one more game to play.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lose, you're going home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they
Wow.
went on. Not only did they win that game, but they went on to win the Kerry Packer series. Not that I so much agreed with what Kerry Packer was doing, but the
Right.
point is that That's sometimes how you have to treat West Indians. Put pressure on them,
Right,
but they
right,
have no
right.
discipline.
That's how you create diamonds.
That's how you create them.
Mm. I
Right.
have one more question, and this one
Sure,
is quite generic, right across the board. It doesn't matter what sport it is. I mean, we're talking about
sure.
cricket, boxing, everything else.
Mhm.
But there seems to be quite a difference between the 80s to the way things are done now in terms of the athletes. Not breaking
Mhm.
records as much as they're not doing as well as how sports how the sportsmanships was in the past, how good they were. We don't seem to be on that level or even better. There's been some
Right.
improvements in some areas, but what do you think today, um, in this day and age right now? What is it that the young ones coming up who are want to take part in whatever the sport is, what do you think they need?
So I
Mhm.
already have the answer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a strange answer, but then
Hmm.
you're gonna get it in a little way. When I was a young boy going to school, I
Hmm.
had a pen pal in South Africa, right? So when you had a pen pal, you wrote them a letter on a sheet of paper, you
Hmm.
folded it up, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and you posted it.
Right.
It takes 3 months to get to South Africa, and then 3 months before she replies, you get the reply. When you open the letter, it's like you just saw Jesus. You're so
Hmm.
excited. All right?
Hmm.
I say that to say, if your child has a pen pal in South Africa now, and she doesn't get a response in 2 or 3 minutes, she wants to know the person doesn't want to talk to her anymore.
Hmm.
This is the challenge with modern day athletes compared to our day. We had very few distractions. So if we
Hmm.
love track and field, we had nothing else to do but track and field.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't come home and go online. I didn't have a
Hmm.
cell phone to go and make a call. You
Hmm.
knew everybody in the village who had a phone. Everybody who had a phone, you knew. And if you also knew who all had a car.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when you had goals and dreams, they were very specific. I wanted to do track and field. I had a very good friend by the name of Eustace Oscar, who is now lives in England. And Eustace and I would sit down, look up in the sky, and talk about track and field. And then we go out the next day with Calvin Greenaway from Antigua. And I was there because I
Hmm.
went to school for a while. And we trained. I went to school in the Caribbean. My father sent me to school in Antigua.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah. Today,
Hmm.
the youngsters have so many distractions that they can't quite decide what they want. If I had a question in the old days, I had to go to the library and check in the encyclopedia. If you have a question, you have a question these days, they go online
Google.
and check on the internet.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
whether it is given the right answer or not, they can give you 20 different answers and they all sound like gospel truth.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So it's a whole different mentality. And
Hmm.
it is a lot harder for a younger person these days to focus on what they want because
Right.
there's so many more options and so many more things happening around them. The world is so much busier
Hmm.
than it was 30 or 40 years ago,
Wow.
right? And it's going to get even busier because the next big thing after the internet is about to come about.
I
You
have
know,
seen.
I,
I
I
don't
mean,
know
when you
exactly.
were a young boy,
Mm,
you
mm,
I put all of you, I gave all your email addresses and I put all your on the internet in 1995, right?
yes.
But let me ask you a question.
Mm.
Tell me what kind of TikTok things you did. What you did on TikTok when you were at school?
Oh,
What you did on Instagram when you were at school?
no, 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 none of that.
You just sent emails and you could go online. But the other
Mm-mm.
people in your class couldn't do it. They used to come to you all and ask you all to do things for them. But they'd never been
Mm.
online.
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
So you guys were special because you could come home and each of you had your own computer, log on and go
Mm-hmm.
online. It was a big thing in your room. It wasn't a little thing, it was a big massive thing that we built up and put together.
Saying that, yes, quite privileged in that sense. There were people in the UK because when I converse with people here, they even had more
Hmm.
here,
There there you go.
and I can see how it has affected some of them because they had more distractions, 100%. Email, internet, search and logins, whatever came with that, they were doing so much more. And one thing that a lot of people don't understand when it comes to me, when they speak about people, individuals, something that happened in the past, who's famous, And I go, who is that? Sorry, what are you talking about? Oh no, I don't know. They go, well, how do you not know? It doesn't make any sense. Because well, we didn't grow up with the television and being surrounded around what's happening outside of the world. I mean,
Right.
I personally clocked on to martial arts, and then that was it. And if you're asking me, well, who's your martial art inspiration? And to this day, I'd say, well, there wasn't really anyone. If I had to pick someone,
Bruce Lee.
it would be Bruce Lee. It'd
Yeah.
be Bruce Lee. But other than
Which
that,
is
it
my
was
dad, my brother. My
yeah,
brother's.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, he loved
Um,
Bruce Lee.
I was like, if I had to pick someone, it would be Bruce Lee. But then I never gravitated to Bruce Lee in such a way where I thought, oh, he's the goat, he's this and that. It was all about me and what I can improve with my own skill and how I can surpass what I've seen so far.
So in my case, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do well in track and field. I trained for many years. Then my parents sent me to England. It wasn't my choice. They told me they sent me back home so that I could marry my wife. And so I sent for her. That's another.
Mm-hmm.
That's another. Let's leave that one,
Another story for another day.
right? Yes. No, we didn't talk about that one at all. We leave that one
Yeah,
alone,
I invited
right?
Grandma to watch the streams.
Yeah. And so, yes, Graham, yes, my mother said, and she laughed and said, well, you won't be seeing her again when I was leaving at the airport. Big laughing. We say, ah, I was here. Well, I got 3 jobs and I sent for her, right? And then came to England. Within a year or so, uh, I was training with Daly. And when I first went to train, Daly asked me if I wanted to train with him. I didn't know who he was. I said, well, I've come to do the decathlon, but I don't know um, much about it. And he says, well, come and train with me, man. I'm a decathlete. I do it. I said, okay. Somebody came to me the following day and said, hey, I see you training with Daly Thompson. I said, who? He said, the guy you train with. I said, what did he say his name was? He said, Daly Thompson. I said, okay. Who is Daly Thompson? So I went to train with this guy, didn't know who he was. Didn't know
Mm-hmm.
there was any world record or anything like that. I just wanted to find somebody who was doing my event that I could
Mm.
work out with. Only to find out afterwards that this guy had a selected group of people that he trained with for many years. And the reason
Wow.
why he took me on was because Pani Zenu was retiring and he wanted somebody to fill Pani's spot. And I was the one that filled the spot.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, it was myself, Greg, Pani was leaving, so Pani left, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Brian Richards came and joined us later on. And then after that was Justin Whitfield came and joined us. And that was it. Nobody else was allowed to join us. We went from
Wow.
Battersea to West London to Crystal Palace. That was our main route that we did, and no one else could come in. And you didn't go out. It was like it's like the mafia. Once you're in, you're in.
You're
You know,
in.
and you knew what time to come to training. Nobody arrived to training late. It just wasn't done, and we never discussed with anybody what sessions we did. I'm
Right.
coaching a young man now. I use the same sessions, but I don't tell anybody what we do. I do the
Right,
same
right,
thing that
right.
Daly did with us,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And it wasn't all Frank Dick's sessions, but I love Frank. Frank is a great guy, so I won't go down that road. I don't know if Frank. If anyway, I don't know much about Frank anymore. I don't know where he is or what.
Don't give them
Um,
don't give them everything. We have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
lots of
yeah.
time. We know we're plugging in here
There you
every
go.
Thursday, guys. Six
There
thirty
you go.
p.m.
I've been trying to find Greg Richards, though. I haven't, but once I can find Greg, I can find Daly. And Greg and I are very close, got along very well.
Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
see Daly has a few kids that are competing now as well, which is nice.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. They're doing
you guys
quite a few.
since the separation and everyone's sort of gone their own path, you guys don't speak as much anymore, or are you in
Everyone's busy.
contact?
Everyone's gotten on with life. It's just
Mm-hmm.
life. I
Yeah.
mean, if I really wanted to find Daly, I could, modern day internet, I can
Right,
find
right,
him in a
yeah.
day or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Right, right,
sure
right.
Daly would respond. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we never left on a bad note. I just wanted to go back to the Caribbean, and Daly didn't think it was a good idea. He thought I should have stayed.
Right,
But
right,
I
right.
haven't really gone out my way. I know the kind of person Daly is. He's quick. He's fast moving. Doesn't like to waste time. So I'm like, okay, well,
Mm.
you know, and so if I see him, I see him. If I don't, I don't. But if we saw each other tomorrow, it'd be a great reunion. But we spent a lot of time together.
Right, 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 right. You know, well, maybe that's something I can work on. That's a nice thing
Find daily? Sure,
to
you can do
share.
that if
Well,
you
well,
want.
well, not just daily. It's trying to get all your partners, and I can be a moderator where I just organize the stream, and you guys can have a one on one. You know,
Well,
catching up on the
you
good
probably get a
moments.
lot of views. People love to hear Daily. I'd love to have Greg there. So look for Greg Richards and for Daily Thompson. You'll find them.
Greg Richards and Daily Thompson's. Yeah, I'll put them in my back pocket and see.
Both the athletes. Great.
Mm-mm. It'd be an
So,
interesting conversation, definitely for
yeah.
sure. Well, on that note, I'm just going to have a look at these comments. It's mostly from Helena and my beautiful mom.
Oh,
She
the
says,
moment thing.
agree, Joshua is a gentleman. That's when we were talking about boxing. But in
Oh,
the
Anthony
ring,
Joshua, yeah.
he
Okay,
needs to
yeah.
become an animal. So my mom's like, she
Well,
thinks he
he's been
needs to
animal.
become an animal.
He
Uh,
understands. Yeah.
uh, she also says, I think this is referring to your cricket
Watch the game.
days. You used to
Oh,
sneak
she's
home
talking
from
about
school.
no. That's cricket. She's talking when I went to watch the Brian Lara match. It was
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching at high school in
Oh,
Antigua,
I see.
and I well, I guess you could say I snuck out. I walked out through the front gate really, and I took all of my students with me
Oh,
to go and watch
really?
the game.
You
Yeah, I did. I did.
nearly got fired.
But the funny thing about it is that none of the other classes did that. So when the principal went across to my classroom,
Right.
it was empty. And incidentally, Andy Roberts' son was in my class. I taught him, and he
Okay.
disliked cricket at the time. Now he loves it.
Oh,
I
wow.
also taught Viv Richards' son. Pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I
I
taught both
didn't.
Andy Roberts and Viv Richards' son.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You were known at St. Joseph Academy High School for doing the marches, is that right?
I did. I was, in fact, we were unbeatable. While I taught this Joe's Academy team how to figure match,
Yeah.
we were never beaten once. But
Wow.
I was a drill master. I didn't mess around. Anybody, at least I would give detention, all sort of stuff. If I saw you mess around in the line when we were
Mm-hmm.
doing figure matching, everybody had to be spot on. I saw you doing left right push ups, cuff you up, all kind of things. West Indies,
Oh,
you can get rid of
wow.
all kind of madness. But I was
Wow.
very strict about
Mm.
when we went out on the day, St. Joe's Academy were unbeaten and
Wow.
unbeatable. Today, it's not the same. All kind of different schools
Was it
come with all
different
kind
now?
of nonsense
Wow.
beating us. But trust me, if I was there, no one, Antigua Grammar School, no one would beat us. I think grammar school is the top school now.
Why is marching down the streets such a big thing in Antigua? Because I don't see that adopted here in the. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else.
No, it was
I
part
thought it
of
was normal.
No, it's part of independence celebrations in Antigua. Once when after Antigua became independent from Britain,
Mm-hmm.
they had their own independence celebrations, and part of the independence celebrations is marching, the police march, and so the scouts march, the
Mm-hmm.
defense force march, the cadets march, and all the schools march behind them. So we decided, we started this in Joseph Academy, that we were
Okay.
going to teach them how to figure march, and when we did it, all the other schools were so impressed, right? So when we came back the next year, we did it again. Another school copied, and then all of a sudden another school copied, and then another school's copied, and all of a sudden all the schools were doing it. Then it became a big competition,
Oh, wow,
and they
wow.
still couldn't beat us.
Because they had
Bring it
all the
on!
ball. Uh,
SJA, St. Jonas Academy. That's
oh my
Antigua.
goodness.
For those, yeah, we've
I
been
would.
jumping all over the different parts of the world. Sorry about that. We're talking about Antigua now.
Yes, so we're talking about Antigua. I would love to go back there just to see one of the matches actually to see what it's like,
Yeah.
regardless of whether it's up to standards.
It's pretty sad though because the Antigua Recreation Ground, which is where Brian Lara broke the world record, it has not been used for a while now. It's really down, and I think the present government is thinking about fixing it up and getting it back up to scratch. What they
Mm,
did was they built a new ground, Viv Stadium, but the Viv Stadium unfortunately never acquired the same ambience that
mm.
the Antigua Recreation Grounds did, and up to today, it never has.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
even the acoustics don't work properly at the Antigua at the Vivica Stadium, and they haven't fixed it. You know, so what they were meant to do was to break the wall at the back where the prison was and extend the grounds, but instead progress taught to them that they move the grounds to a different venue. And
Right.
in doing so, the new venue in no way compares to the old venue as far as ambience is concerned. Certainly, the facilities are all better and everything. But if the facilities are all better, but you can't attract the number of people they used to attract in the old venue, what's the point?
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Something's definitely been missed there.
Missed the boat somewhere.
Well, on that note, guys, I want to thank everyone who's logged in today. Again, you're speaking here today with Paul on the Ball, who is my dad, well known in the BVI and the British Virgin Islands. Guys, for those of you who have been streaming in, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to give this video a like. You can review it again. It will be on Facebook, Paul on the Ball Facebook, and Paul on the Ball has a YouTube as well. Please go over to that YouTube channel and subscribe. I will be editing this video so you can see a quite edited version, segments for everything that we've spoken about, so you can see all of that very clearly on the YouTube channel. Do go over there and subscribe. Keep up to date with what we're going to be talking about every single week. I think it is 7:30, right?
Yeah. I got one quick question before you go.
Yes.
I ca- did my daughter not ask any questions?
Oh, she did. Let's have a look. Let's look up.
Come on, man. You
Well,
drop it.
no, knowing
That'd be
Helena,
so unlike her.
this is what we got. We got more of these smiley faces. She said, "This is looking good." She also said, apparently, not too sure what
She's very British now.
what we're
Don't bite
talking
your
about.
tongue. Apparently,
She
mate.
might be a bit tired.
Okay, that's what it is. That's what it is. All right,
She's
fair
probably
enough.
falling
She's
asleep.
a bit tired, mate. Yeah,
But
all right.
if
It is
if
late there, isn't it?
it is late. It's after
Yeah. So
minutes
you
to
may want to
one.
start a bit earlier next time.
But I know I like the time as long as
All
but we
right, all
can
right,
we
fair
can
enough.
do we
I'm
can
good. I'm
do
good.
7 o'clock.
I'm
I
good.
don't mind.
It's just 8 o'clock here, so I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fridays is usually not bad for me, so I can definitely do the
Okay.
later time.
Okay.
But I want to
All right.
say congratulations to Helena because she finally got cleared with British Airways. So that's quite amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good sports move.
Shout out to BA. Get me some free flights.
Nice, nice. That's what's up. That's what's
Okay.
up.
Yeah, so guys, subscribe to the channel, keep up with us so you can get new content every single week. I'm also going to be working on getting this on podcast as well. I have some people that I can speak with next week, not next week, sorry, tomorrow, who can give me more information how to get that done. So I think it'll be a really pleasure for people who are driving, etc., to have a listen, to hear our chats, hear our talks, and and spread the word, because I
Listen,
think. Mhm.
Kay,
Tell
if
me.
a guy from Kenya, Ayamara,
Mm-hmm.
can have 500,000 viewers, right? His sister, Demonge, can
Mm-hmm.
have just shy of 500,000 views. And this
Wow.
guy, I am Mayugno, who's opened his channel about a month ago now,
Wow.
has 20,000 likes and subscribers already. Then I think we can do it too.
Listen.
The Kenyans have this thing down
Mm.
pat.
Oh yeah. Everyone's out there really pushing and working, and one of the things I've been looking into is how these algorithms work on different platforms. You can't actually post the same. It's crazy. I've been experimenting, and you're learning new things. But the one thing that I have learned, which I am adopting for 2023, is something actually that my father right here who's taught me, and it's something that I really have to put into practice, and it's the consistency. That bug, you really have to be consistent in whatever it is that you're doing. And trust me, a lot of things come your way that are going to sort of deflect or distract. And this has been the year where I've just said, no, 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 I don't care, no distraction, I don't care, no, no, we have to just keep going. I mean, it's only February, but as long as I keep on the journey that I am right now, I'm expecting big things by the end of the year. Definitely, for sure.
What I would say is that the challenge is that a lot of times when people are about to achieve success,
Mm,
they don't think that they're acquiring it. And they start to look at all the faults and all the things that are going wrong,
mm,
and they lose track of the success that's actually there for them.
right. Mm-hmm.
So success is there, but you're looking at the failures when you can actually succeed, and then you start to blame other people and all sort of things that they play in your head, and then suddenly the success is gone, and then you tell yourself, "Oh, I didn't really want it anyway." So
Mm.
just stay focused, man. Simple. Stay
Stay
focused and keep
focused.
on going. And it doesn't happen when you want it to happen. It happens when it's meant to happen. Don't assume because it didn't happen at that time, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Don't judge your success off of somebody else across the road, your neighbor's success. Your
mm-hmm.
success will come when it's due. Just get on with it.
100%.
And don't
100%.
define success because what you think is success sometimes it's different. And there are other people who want to be where you're at.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And you're telling someone else that you failed, and the guy across the road, right,
mm-hmm.
who doesn't have any feet, says he wishes that he could be like that guy and wear shoes.
Mm. Got a lovely comment here from mom. She says, "Fail your way to success.
Amen.
Stay focused, guys. Stay strong."
Okay, buddy.
If you guys want to follow, for those of you who can be clocking in and having a look, that's Dad's Instagram right there, at PL Hewlett. Flood it and keep up to date. You can also find me on Kelvin.Hewlett or at Kelvin Hewlett. I might delete this fancy um, Instagram that I've created, but it's because I'm into the acting world, and you have to have a separate one that's with more
There you
professional.
go.
So that's what that one's about.
Amen.
But it's been a fantastic broadcast. We're gonna be doing it again next Thursday. We'll get some juicy topics for you guys. Don't you
Okay.
worry. As you can see, Dad's always on it. He's always looking at what's happening in the media. So we'll have loads of things to talk about. And depending on how my week goes, I might have a little dive into some of the topics he brings me as well, so I can get a bit more knowledgeable on sports.
Super Bowl when you come next time. Super Bowl is on, man. So we
Oh,
talk about that next time.
fantastic! So we're gonna get into some Super Bowls, guys.
Eagles versus the Chiefs.
He said he wouldn't mention it, but he couldn't help
I
it.
did, I did, I did. Yeah, but it's gonna be a good game. The Chiefs are gonna win anyhow. So
But we'll definitely have that talk next week. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, again that's tuned in. As I always say, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.
ciao.
Bye.
So until next week, your pal Paul.